This is a tutorial on 3-point perspective. We're going to learn how to draw a very basic cube. So you will have tried out 1-point perspective, 2-point perspective, and now this is the third step. This enables us to visualize an object from above or looking up from below, and it helps you to show the shrinkage and the vanishing that appears when you're looking at something either from above or from below. Just imagine you're looking up at a skyscraper or at the Eiffel Tower, and it appears to disappear smaller and smaller and smaller as you look up, as it gets further away from you. Okay, so it's just the same as a vanishing point on the horizontal plane looking towards the horizon, but it's looking up or looking down. So we'll start by looking down at an object, and then we'll do a second one looking up. So as we always do, we're going to draw our horizon, and today we'll draw the horizon line across the top of our page. And as we would previously, we will put in 2 vanishing points along the horizon. And this is a new step. Today, as we're doing 3-point perspective, we'll put a vanishing point right at the bottom of the page in the middle there. So what we're going to do is, rather than previously, we've always started by drawing our sort of vertical line, the edge of our cube. We're not going to do that. We're first of all just going to put a dot on our page. Okay, so that dot is the top corner of our cube. And what we're now going to do is we're going to draw faint lines to all of the vanishing points from there. Now remember, I don't draw faint lines because you won't be able to see them very well on the video. So instead of faint lines, what I draw are dotted lines, but you don't need to draw dotted lines. I would, if I were you, and if I wasn't doing this on a video, I would just draw a nice faint line with pencil, okay? So I'm going to draw another one to this point over here. And I'm going to draw another one to this point over here. Brilliant. So we've got the top point of our cube now, and what we want to do is decide what the width is going to be. So how far is it going to go off to the right hand side? So it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to put here just a little dot about there. Okay, but this time, normally what we would do in 2-point perspective is we would draw a parallel line. So we take our ruler and we draw that line exactly parallel to this one. We're not doing that this time, because actually what we have to do is, you'll remember, show how that cube looks smaller as it gets further away from our eyes. So we've got to join this point up to the vanishing point at the bottom, like so. So draw a faint line, like that. Okay. Next, we're going to decide how wide our object is on the left-hand side. So you can make it exactly the same. If you really want to be precise, you could measure it. That's 4 centimeters and 4 centimeters, but it really doesn't matter. It could be something that's slightly longer in that direction. It doesn't matter. Okay, but I'm going to put my dot there, like so. So this time what we do is we draw our faint line down to the vanishing point from this dot, like so. And the next step is we're going to join this this dot, this corner, this top of the cube, to the vanishing point on the opposite side, and then we'll do the same on the left hand side. So we take the dot there and draw our faint line to that point, and we'll join up these two with a nice faint line. Okay, so it's coming along really nicely. I hope you can sort of see, imagine, if you will, that we are in an aeroplane or a helicopter and we're flying over London. And we're flying through the city of London where the finance district is, and it's very, very renowned for having lots of tall buildings, lots of skyscrapers, as they call them. And if you can imagine that, you're in the air and this is the top of the skyscraper. So you might have a helipad on there, that would be exciting. And as we look down, the skyscraper just seems to narrow as it goes further away from us. Of course, it isn't really getting narrow. It is exactly the same width at the bottom as it is at the top. But that is what happens. That's the illusion that takes place when something is, traveling away from us. It's further away in the distance. It looks smaller. So that sort of narrowing occurs. I'm not going to have mine as going right down to be a sort of skyscraper that disappears at a point. I'm going to stick to my original plan, which was to have a cube. Okay, and I'm going to therefore measure 4 centimeters here, but again, it doesn't really matter. You don't need to worry about it being exact. But there we go. That's that's the height of my cube there. Okay, and from this point, you've probably guessed what you're going to do now. You're going to join that up with a faint line to the vanishing point on this side, like so. And you're going to do exactly the same on the other side. Notice I didn't even draw that all the way to the end there. I will do on this side just to sort of make sure that you get the point and the habit of it. But as you get quicker and quicker at perspective drawing, you don't always need to necessarily draw all the way to the vanishing point, as long as your ruler is located on it and it doesn't move from it. We know that this line would eventually join that one. Okay, so now we've got this cube, okay, like so, and what we're going to do is we're going to go over those lines so that they become solid, firm lines. There we go. That looks pretty good to me. Then I'm going to take my eraser, and as always, we can get rid of any lines that we no longer need. I call these construction lines. You can call them guidelines or construction lines. They're there to help you construct, to build, but they're not there as part of the final drawing. Okay, so hopefully now what you can see there is a cube that looks smaller at the bottom than it is at the top. It isn't. It's simply an illusion because we're looking down on it from above, and therefore it's vanishing, sort of narrowing away from us. What you can do, as always, is add in a light source. So I'm going to go for this side for a change, because I usually always do from the left. And that means that we would be shading in the opposite side of our cube. You need to take your time with this. Plenty of care. I'm doing it much quicker than I normally would. Just to show you. I'm using a particularly hard pencil because it's good for technical drawing. It keeps sharp very easily. You don't have to sharpen it as frequently as you would need to if you used a softer shading pencil like a 2B or a 4B. The problem with it is it's not great for shading, so you'll see lots of sort of streaks in my shading there, so just need to take my time. Now normally I will rotate the drawing and work along the edges. Okay, so we'd have that side would be the darkest side. This top part we wouldn't put any shading on because it's got the sun coming right down onto it from the top there. This side is partially hidden from the light source, so this is going to be a light tone. So you can probably barely see that on the camera. Now, where you're doing it in 3-point perspective, you see this everything is a little bit converging. What you've got to try and do is make sure that your shading sort of comes into that point as well. If that makes sense. You might find you want to smudge this panel just to get a nice flat tone to get rid of those pencil marks. You just need to take care that you don't smudge outside the box, but you can always use your eraser like that. You could do the same for this one as well. And you could, with a little bit of pencil still on your finger, you could just do a tiny bit of tone on the top, like that. Okay, great. And then, of course, the shadow. Now, I made a bit of a mistake there. I've shaded it at a slight angle. Really, I should always try and, when I'm doing the shadow, I should always try and do it parallel to the horizon line, just to really try and evoke that the ground is flat in that direction, like so. Okay, and then again, you can smudge that if you wish to. Blend it with your finger. Brilliant. So that is a cube in 3-point perspective, and this one's from above, and therefore you've drawn it below the horizon line.